I'm now going to review the next book in the Murder Most Unladylike series by Robin Stevens, which is Arsenic for Tea. Which doesn't sound very English or friendly or sociable really, but I highly recommend this book. Very enjoyable and nice. This takes Hazel and Daisy away from school, so it's not the same as the first book. The setting is not in their school. This is at Daisy's home. Her parents are called Lord and Lady Hastings. It's in Fallingford, and it's the Easter holidays, so they've hired a governess and that to look after them, keep them entertained, keep them out of trouble. So they should just be having the Easter holidays at Daisy's parents' home, being well behaved, not being naughty. But as it happens, somebody is poisoned. So that gives Hazel and Daisy a new case to work on. And what is nice about this book is we get new characters who come into it. Really enjoy that. They move into the series, don't know about the detective agency at first, and it's done really well. I can't really say much more than that without being a spoiler alert, so I'm not going to. So it is really, really nice. Really enjoy it. I think the way that the murderer is revealed is done really well. It's not obvious. We did have our suspicions, we kind of knew, but I think it was done really nicely. Absolutely love this series. I'm 2 books in now, and my daughter and I just think it is cracking. So she's ahead of me, so I have to wait and find out what the next book is when she's finished it. So 5 stars, absolutely brilliant, highly recommend it. And I'm now going to read a part from it for you, which I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to read you an extract from Arsenic for Tea with Robin Stevens, and it's really hard to find a part that doesn't give something away. So I'm going to do this part, and it gives you the style of how it's written and how they communicate with each other, and I think it's really engaging. So I think you'll like this. "No, you listen," said Kitty. "If there's something going on at Fallingford, then we want in on it. It's not fair you leaving us out. If you don't let us, we'll go to your uncle and tell him exactly what you're up to, and I bet he'll be furious." "You might want to join in, but Beanie doesn't," said Daisy, grasping at straws. "Do you, Beanie? It's terribly dangerous. You might die." "You won't die," I said to Beanie quickly, "but Daisy is right. It is dangerous." Beanie took a deep breath. We could all see her considering. "I think," she said at last, "I think that if you're going to be detectives, then I want to help. Can't I help?" Her eyes were wide, and she stared at Daisy like a kitten left out in the rain. Daisy was silent. Then she sighed. "Bother," she said. "All right then, but you're only temporary members of our society. You have to be our assistants." "Assistants?" exclaimed Kitty, making a face. "What's wrong with that? Sherlock Holmes had runners, and that's a sort of assistant. Anyway, you can't just invite yourself into the Detective Society and expect to become important all at once." "Why, it took Hazel almost a whole term to become vice president." "Daisy," I said. Like it or not, we had to be nice to Kitty and Beanie now that they were in on the secret. "Oh, all right, if you prefer, you can call yourselves secret agents. But you'll still be assistants, really." That was the sort of Daisy compromise that was really no compromise at all. Beanie squeaked again, with joy this time. Daisy rolled her eyes. "Don't get too excited," she said. "If you're part of the Detective Society, you have to solemnly agree to do whatever I tell you to do, because I am the president. Hazel is the vice president and also the secretary, which means that she writes everything down and also helps me solve cases. Also, you have to swear yourselves to secrecy with the Detective Society pledge, which means that if you tell anyone about what we do, ever, we're allowed to hunt you down and punish you with medieval tortures." "The medieval torture part isn't true," I said quickly, because Beanie's eyes had grown almost bigger than her face. "Aren't they?" said Daisy. "You're such a good vice president that I haven't needed to threaten you, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. In this case, though, I think the warning is needed. Kitty, Beanie, are you ready to swear? If you don't, you can't help us." "I suppose," said Kitty, crossing her arms. "All right," said Beanie. "I don't want to be tortured, please." "Good. Now I'm going to say the pledge, and then at the end you have to say 'I do.' Ready? Listen carefully. Do you swear to be a good and clever member of the Detective Society and to logically detect the crimes presented to you using all the cleverness you have, not placing reliance on grown-ups, especially the police?" She nudged Kitty, and Kitty jumped and said, "I do." "I do," said Beanie, half a beat behind. "Do you solemnly swear never to conceal a vital clue from your Detective Society president and vice president, and to do exactly what they say?" "You're making this up now," cried Kitty. "Oh, all right, I do." "I do too," said Beanie. "Do you promise never to mention this to another soul, living or dead, on pain of medieval torture?" "I do," chorused Kitty and Beanie. "Excellent," Daisy said, satisfied. "Now we can tell you all about the case." Well worth a read. 5 stars again.